Alright people, I've had my snakehead in my community planted tank for about 3 months now, and I thought it's about time I give you an update. And yeah, let's just get started. Now, as a quick reminder, the snakehead I have in my tank is the Channa Andrao. Now, the Channa Andrao is one of the more peaceful snakehead species. Of course, if I added certain other ones, it could go really wrong in my fish tank. Something like the Cobra snakehead or something like that. But the Channa Andrao is one of the more peaceful ones, and he has been doing great. Now, the Channa Andrao does not get as big as other snakeheads, so that's another good thing. When it comes to this snakehead, anything that can't fit in its mouth should be fine with it. And considering that they don't get that big, it actually increases the amount of fish you can potentially keep with it. Now, as I mentioned, the snakehead has been in the tank for about 3 months now, and there has been absolutely no problems at all. He seems perfectly happy. He is very active. And yeah, in overall, it's probably one of the best fish that I bought for this fish tank. Now, as some of you know, I did buy 2 snakeheads. The first one is doing great, but the second one did pass away. I am pretty sure it was my moray eel, because the second one was a lot smaller than the first one. And when I did buy it, I thought, yeah, it did look a bit risky, but hey, I learnt my lesson now. However, having said that, now that I've moved Lily to the downstairs tank, technically there shouldn't be anything left in that tank that could hurt that snakehead, so I might just get 1 or 2 more for this tank, because they are so cool. Now, I do have to say, on the first day, it did seem a little bit nervous and it would hide away and all of that. However, after a few days, once it got really comfortable, literally, like, I'm looking at it right now, it's just swimming about the tank. It is so incredibly active. Now, I don't understand why snakeheads aren't more popular. I know in certain places they're banned, but like in the UK they're not, and still they're not as popular as you might think. You feel me? Like, not everyone really talks about snakeheads. Like, I don't understand, why are snakeheads not as well known as something like a goldfish? It just doesn't make sense. They're so cool. But yeah, anyway. Now, in regards of interactions with the rest of the tank mates, the snakehead doesn't seem to bother anyone. At one point, the snakehead did have one little mark on its body. I do feel like maybe that was Lily. I know I keep blaming my moray eel for a lot, but she is literally one of the only fish in that tank that would be aggressive enough to actually bite someone. Like, I can't really see the fire eel biting anyone, or the ghost knife. And I guess Nagini, my rope fish, she could technically, but even there, I don't know, I just can't see her going after the snakehead. However, my moray eel, after what she done to the rainbow fish and the Congo tetras and that, yeah, I wouldn't put it past her. But other than the small mark that I saw, there doesn't seem to be any other problems. Now, the really cool thing about the snakehead is that it eats the dry food. You see some of my fish, like the fire eel, who only eats bloodworms, or my moray eel, who only eats prawns. I thought the snakehead was going to be similar to that, and I was kind of worried about what I was going to feed it. However, when I got home and I just fed all of my other fish and I put the dry food in, the snakehead went straight for it and he seemed to love it. Now, on the days I put protein in, like bloodworms and prawns and all of that for the other predator fish, the snakehead had some as well, of course. They pretty much eat everything. But I just thought it was really cool that it also eats the dry food. Like, when you look at it, it doesn't seem like the type of fish that would eat dry food, but it literally did. It's so cool. I guess I should talk about my water maintenance as well, because there are some fish where if you don't keep on top of your maintenance, they will literally pass away. So in my fish tank, the maintenance that I do is I take out about 1 or 2 buckets of water every 2 weeks, you know, for the water changes, and about once every 2 months I do a big water change where I take about 40% out. And yeah, of course, every time I do a water change, I add some tap safe. I'll also add some nutrients for the plants and like a bioenhancer that helps with the helpful bacteria and that. But yeah, that's pretty much it, people. The liquids I put in every time I do a little water change and that, and the water change is, like I said, 1 to 2 buckets every 2 weeks, and then 40% water change every 2 months. Now with that, I keep my water at 25 degrees, and yeah, with that maintenance, the snakehead has been completely happy for the past 3 months. So yeah, it doesn't seem to need any special requirements. Now, snakeheads are known to be jumpers, so I had to make sure that my tank is escape proof, but because I already had quite a few fish who are jumpers, my tank was already escape proof, so I didn't really need to do anything there. But if you are thinking of getting one, make sure you close up all the little gaps, because yeah, I remember one time when I first got the canister filter, I actually had to leave a little gap on the lid before I had time to cut a hole in it. and one of my African butterfly fish literally jumped out of that little gap. And people, when I'm telling you, the gap was about maybe this big and it still found it and jumped out. So yeah, when it comes to fish that jump, just be careful, make sure you close up all the little gaps. I did make a video about how to make your tank escape proof. I'll put it up here somewhere, but I'm also going to make an updated version because I made that video quite a while ago, and yeah, I want to make a better version of it. Before we carry on, if this video was helpful to you, then let me know by leaving a like or a comment, and if you want to see more videos like this every single week, then please remember to subscribe. It really helps me out. Now, I already spoke on this a little bit, but I am going to get some more snakeheads, especially now that we have a bit more space in there. And people, those snakeheads should be fine in the 200 litre. One thing I should mention is in my 200 litre I've got this grass which literally grows everywhere now, and it's got quite a bit on the surface, and the snakehead does really seem to enjoy that grass. I see it up there all the time. Now of course it swims around the whole tank in general as well, but yeah, it spends a lot of time up there amongst the surface plants. So you don't necessarily have to get grass, but I would say get some plants that might reach the surface, or maybe just get some surface plants, because yeah, it does seem like that they enjoy that. Of course, one of the most important things is always do your research before buying any kind of fish, but especially before buying a snakehead. Like I mentioned, I've got the Channa Andrao and they are very peaceful. However, there are some snakeheads which will literally take out everything in your tank, so just make sure that you do your research before you go out and buy a snakehead. Also keep in mind, some of them get really big. Now I want to talk a little bit about their behavior, because there's one specific thing that, oh people, it is so cool. So when I feed them, like when I feed the tank, the snakehead, once it realizes that there's food in the water, it starts swimming towards the food really slowly, and then kind of grabs the food and then swims away. It almost looks like it's hunting, and I just have to say it looks so cool. It is the coolest thing to watch. Like, I don't know how to explain it. I'll try get some footage of it, but it's quite difficult because it does seem to be a little bit nervous when I get too close to the tank. So when I feed, it kind of stays away and it waits till I step back a little bit, and then it starts moving towards the food. But yeah, I'll try get some footage for you guys. By the way, I mentioned this earlier in the video, but I do get quite a few comments about aren't snakeheads illegal and all of that. People, in the UK, snakeheads are legal. You are allowed to keep them, but I do understand that many other countries, they are banned. So I see where the confusion comes from. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that really quickly. Quick side note on my Maury eel. She is doing great in the new tank. She's swimming about everywhere. She hasn't started eating yet. I tried to feed her once and she didn't take it. That was like a day after I moved her. I'm going to try again tomorrow. I thought, let me give her a few days to rest a little bit. So let's just keep our fingers crossed. I hope that she eats. And yeah, once she starts eating and she has settled and everything, I'll do a quick update on that as well. But yeah, all in all people, the snakehead is by far one of the coolest purchases that I've made. And if you want to see the day I bought my snakehead, then click right here.